Welcome to my channel Techify with Adil. So today in our video we will be discussing about describe cost management in Azure, and the first topic factors that that affect cost in Azure. So we will be seeing in future videos like one after the other the topics. So we will discuss the factors here. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe, like and share my videos. You can look at my other videos in the Azure Fundamentals playlist. It will help you to do certification, or you want to just gain knowledge in Azure fundamentals, you can gain knowledge through the videos. Okay, let us move on to our topic today. So the factors that affects the cost in Azure. So Azure shifts development costs from capital expense of building out and maintaining infrastructure and facilities to an operational expense of renting infrastructure as you need it, whether it's compute, storage, networking and so on. So earlier, when in our discussion in previous video, we have seen about this capex and opex. What is the advantage of going into Azure? So it has converted the capital expense to operational expense. So based on your operation, your expense is going to be not, we no need to be spend expense on capital like building, maintenance, infrastructure and all those things. So that OPEX costs can be impacted by many factors. Some of the factors are like resource type, what type of resource we are using, consumption of that resources, maintenance, geography, subscription type, Azure marketplace. So these are the main factors that impacts our operation expense. So the resource type. So number of factors influence the cost of Azure resources. The type of resources, setting of the resources, and Azure region will all have the impact on how much a resource costs. So in my previous video, who have viewed, if not, like, you can go check again creating a resource. We have a lab session. So in that video we have seen how to create a Azure resource. While creating, there's an option to choose Azure region. So when you're choosing Azure region, based on the region you choose, also there will be a change in cost, and also the settings for the resource. Like for example, the redundancy you choose, like you're using a GRS redundancy or LRS, so based on that your cost also will vary. So that's what the second point is. Then when you provision an Azure resource, Azure creates metered instances for that resource. The meter tracks the resources usage and generate a usage record that is used to calculate your bill. Same like how we pay our electricity bill, and if it's being utilized, then you will be charged. Not utilized, then you will not be charged. That's the advantage of using Azure. So you will see a small video on the cost effect.
How much does Azure cost? The answer to this common question depends on many factors, such as services used, workloads, networking needs, and storage requirements. Azure provides several tools to help you understand your costs and savings when moving to the cloud. First, the Total Cost of Ownership, or TCO, calculator helps you understand the cost savings of operating your solution on Azure compared to your on-premises data center. Define your workloads by specifying your current on-premises infrastructure based on servers, databases, storage, and networking. Then you can make adjustments to costs based on your location and organization. Finally, you can view a report that shows your costs and savings over time. The second useful tool is the pricing calculator, which can help you determine which Azure services best fit your budget. As you select your subscriptions, services, resources, and third-party solutions, you can add up your costs. You can make adjustments for regions, billing options, dev test pricing, and support options. This can give you a good estimate of the costs of your plans. To monitor your actual costs, you can use the Azure Advisor. It can make recommendations around unused resources and ways to optimize your services. You can also set spending limits on your costs to prevent accidental cost overruns. By using these tools, you can monitor your costs while tracking your overall long-term savings of moving to the cloud. How much?
Okay, so with the storage account, you specify a type such as blob, a performance tier, an access tier, redundancy settings, and a region. So this is what I have mentioned. Like when you're creating a resource, for example, here the example we have taken is the blob storage. So we are selecting the performance tier, then access tier, redundancy settings, and a region. So these are the factors that is going to decide the cost. So creating the same storage account in different region may show different costs, and changing any of the settings may also impact the price. Similarly for a virtual machine creation, so in the virtual machine creation also, so we have a region, then we have the security type, and also the redundancy availabilities. So when you choose that, then also your cost may vary based on your settings and based on the region you choose. Next is a consumption. So pay as you go has been consistent theme throughout, and that's the cloud payout model, where you pay for the resources that you use during a billing cycle. So if you use more compute this cycle, you pay more. If you use less in the current cycle, you pay less. It's a straightforward pricing mechanism that allows for maximum flexibility. However, Azure also offers the ability to commit to using a set of amount of cloud resources in advance and receiving discounts on those reserved resources. So many services, including database, compute, and storage, all provide the option to commit to a level of use and receive a discount, in some cases up to 72%. When you reserve capacity, you are committing to use and paying for a certain amount of Azure resources during a given period. So with a backup of pay as you go, if you see a sudden surge in demand that eclipses what you have preserved, you just pay for additional resources in excess of your reservation. This model allows you to recognize significant savings on reliable, consistent workloads, while also having the flexibility to rapidly increase your cloud footprint as the need arises. So for consumption, as we know, Azure is a pay as you go. So you use, you pay. But they also provide a plan kind of thing. So it can be for 1 year to 3 years. So they provide. So if you are able to calculate like this much of resources I will be using, then we can pay an upfront fees. Like we pay before we use the resources. So we given a discount based on the amount of resources we will be using, and the amount we pay, we will get a discount on that. If you are able to have a commitment like we will be using this much of resources only for next 2 years or next 3 years, then we will be able to get that discount, and still we will be able to reduce. So on the whole, when our 3 years or 2 years period is finishes, you have paid lesser than what you have used actually. So that's another option available in Azure. Then in the maintenance part, the flexibility of the cloud makes it possible to rapidly adjust resources based on demand. So using resources groups can help keep all your resources organized. In order to control cost, it's important to maintain your cloud environment. Say example, every time you provision a VM, additional resources such as storage and networking are also provisioned. So in the video of VM creation, I will be noting that you would have noticed also, when we create an VM, there will be also other resources created. So it needs those resources when we are creating the VM. Even when you are not creating it, it will auto create. If you have existing networking resources, then you can tap that resource when you are creating your VM. If you deprovision the VM, those additional resources may not deprovision at the same time, either intentionally or unintentionally. This is to avoid if that additional resources is tagged to another resources or another VM. So in order to not disturb it, so only the resource you are deprovisioning will be deprovisioned. By keeping an eye on your resources and making sure you are not keeping around resources that are no longer needed, you can help control cloud cost. Next is the geography, that's the region. When you provision most resources in Azure, you need to define a region where the resources deploys. Azure infrastructure is distributed globally. which enables you to deploy your resources centrally or closest to your customers or something in between. With this global deployment comes global pricing differences. The cost of power, labor, taxes, and fees vary depending on the location. Due to these variations, Azure resources can differ in cost to deploy depending on the region we choose. Network traffic is also impacted based on the geography. Say example, it's less expensive to move information within Europe than to move the information from Europe to Asia or South America. The next is network traffic. Billing zones are a factor in determining the cost of some Azure services. Bandwidth refers to a data moving in and out of Azure data center. Same inbound data transfer are free. So when you move something into your data center, like say example from your on premises to your data center, that traffic is free. Then if you move it out of your data center, the data pricing is based on the zone it will be charged. A zone is a geographical grouping of Azure regions for billing. The bandwidth pricing page has additional information on pricing for data ingress, egress. Like data ingress means the data comes in inbound data, egress outbound data, and this is the transferring data. We transfer from one zone to the other zone. So all these factors plays a major role in deciding your operational expenses. Then subscription type. Some Azure types also include usage allowances which affects the cost. Say example, Azure free trial subscription, access to the number of Azure products that are free for 12 months. It also includes credit to spend within your first 30 days of sign up. You will get access to more than 25 products that are always free based on resources and region availability. So this also I have explained in my initial video of resource account creation. So in that you can see this free subscription, and you can use it for 12 months with limited access. Azure Marketplace. So Azure Marketplace is you purchase Azure based solutions and services from third party vendors. This could be a server with software pre-installed and configured, or managed network firewall appliances, or connectors to third party backup services. When you purchase products through Azure Marketplace, you may pay for not only Azure services that you are using, but also the services or expertise of the third party vendor. Billing structures are set by the vendor. All solutions available in Azure Marketplace are certified and compliant with Azure policies and standards. The certification policies may vary based on the service or solution type and Azure services involved. Commercial Marketplace certification policies has additional information on Azure Marketplace certification. So if you are using some other third party vendor solution or services that is available in the Azure Marketplace, you can utilize it, but that is also going to play a major role in varying your operational cost.